And Andy is interrupting as we're starting live. What the heck, Andy?
Sorry.
Actually, I'm just kidding. I don't even know if you could hear that at all. It's really not that big of a deal. Welcome back, you beautiful, intelligent, lovely people. Thanks for coming back to another live episode of your Slightly Average Guys podcast. We do this every Wednesday, mostly around 8 o'clock Mountain Standard Time. And we just are here having a good time. And we talk about some random things. If you do have any topics that you would like us to talk about, feel free to email us at slightlyaverageguys@gmail.com. Hit up some comments in the chat bar to your right as well, and we can also talk about them there. So without further ado, let's get going.
Yeah, well, man, first off, like, for some reason, we're in like a teardrop effect here. Like, I'm the tallest, then you got Ryan, then you got Andy. He's way slouched down here. You know,
Andy's leaning back down low in the back seat.
He's way low. Oh, you know, he's just trying to, be cool like his buddy.
Lean back.
Michael's
lean
again.
back. Lean back.
All the way back.
Yeah, now you're just echoey too. It's multiple things going wrong now. Let me turn that up, turn me down. All right, okay, so let's hop right into it this week. I want to follow up because I actually took the challenge. Last week, we talked about a decent amount of, with social media, what is too much and deleting apps or not using apps and what we're trying to do. And Ryan was kind of leading the charge because he's like, I got to get rid of a few of these. They're too much. I can't do TikTok anymore. I'm sitting on the John too long. I'm starting to get some roids. They're popping. So, Ryan, did you remove apps or at least not use them for literally the last 7 days?
I officially deleted or removed TikTok. I couldn't even think of it. That's how long it's been. I deleted it last week on Wednesday when we talked about it. But I removed it from my phone, and obviously I haven't used it since last Wednesday. Okay. However, I did not delete that Mr. Autofire game, and I've played that an hour and 12 minutes today.
Oh, geez.
Overall, my digital well-being has been about a half hour less. But in the change from deleting TikTok, really all I did was just implement Instagram, implement Reddit, and bring back other terms of social media back into my life, which honestly has made me feel better, though, because I'm not just scrolling through one app. I'll check out Instagram. I'll check out Reddit. I'll check out Snapchat. So it's more going on than just scrolling for an hour and a half on one. You know what I mean? So it makes me at least feel better.
I mean, that's 6 of one, half a dozen of another. Either way, you didn't up your digital well-being. You just shifted one. You shifted from your right hand to your left hand, if you know what I mean.
Absolutely.
Okay.
I did not change my digital well-being at all. I did not improve on it. I just shifted stuff around. Okay. But it made me feel better, though, not just on one app.
So today, if you pull it up right now, what's your digital well-being say as of right now? Okay, I'm going to tell you what was mine last. It was like 5 hours for me, but I had
you guys had the most, yeah.
Yeah, because
I think.
Yeah, you were like around 7. I was around 5, but like 2 of mine were like I was doing something with a discount promo thing where I had to watch a stupid video, so just muted it on my phone and left it run. Today, as of right now, I am 2 hours and 12 minutes. Of that, during lunchtime, it was 45 minutes of Netflix on my phone, while I also still continued to work. So It actually like increased a ton for me, meaning I use screen time less, a lot less. And I, honest to God, outside of a post that I just did because we were going live for to let everybody know, I have not been on Facebook other than like it pops up sometimes with one of the tabs that's on my computer and I've shut it down. I actually logged out of it on my phone from the Chrome browser. I haven't been on Instagram. I haven't been on Facebook. I haven't been on Snapchat because I don't have Snapchat. Never will have Snapchat ever again because I got rid of it. I had that years ago.
Don't lie to the audience.
I had it, but I got rid of it years ago. And I've only looked at one TikTok video because Andy was like, "I know you're quitting cold turkey, but you have to watch this one," which I did. So I've only seen one TikTok video for 60 seconds. So like I'm doing great, but for the first like 4 to 5 days, I was having like weird withdrawal. Like I'd pick up my phone and then just set it back down. And like 10 minutes later, pick up my phone again and like set it back down.
But
Like-
that's the thing, though. The digital well-being for the Android users and the what do you call it, Andy, for iPhones?
Screen time.
Screen time. It only, and maybe I just haven't dive in further to the app. It only does today, one day, 24 hours worth of stuff. So you really can't go back because maybe today, Ryan, for you, it's just a lower time of use because you're just busier with other things on your computer, right?
I've been watching it like each day. I'll get to the end of the day, and it's pretty much around the same time. Other than I didn't work out today, and I usually use my phone to work out to Chromecast it to our TV. So like that's always usually an hour that's in there. That's less, but that wasn't in there last week either. It was like I don't think I worked out on Wednesday last week. Seems to be a rolling theme, but so again, it's still like the average is still there, and I know I've been on it way less just because I haven't allowed myself to be.
Yeah, Andy, where are you sitting at?
Mine's pretty much
12 hours.
7. But my social media, like it's when it goes down. So TikTok was average of 44 minutes a day. So before it was like an hour plus. So I say that I cut down at least half, but on Apple devices, it'll give me the day or the week, and then it'll give me a daily average. So from last week, I'm down 17%.
Nice.
And it'll actually baseline my average and then show me where I'm at based on categories. So my increase was I have this little, it's called, I don't even know how to say it, but it's this little like block game, and think of Tetris, but like Sudoku mashup. And I've been playing that more because it's just kind of like this really fun, like, mind puzzle thing. So I've been doing that more than scrolling through TikTok. But other than that, nothing's pretty much changed because I still walk around with my phone on our Microsoft Teams for work, but it's pretty much the same.
All right. Well, it seems like at least, even if it's 10 minutes, you got a little bit less. Ryan got a little more. Apparently, I'm the only one that's got some damn self-control of this group that's just like cut everything out cold turkey.
I have less, but I have the same with that game that I played, Mr. Autofire. If you haven't played it, go check it out. Mr. Autofire.
All right, Ryan. Well, try to lessen it this whole week, into next week. And I don't mean that by just next Wednesday morning, not, putting Mr. Autofire on, but like try to cut it out and do, or if you're going to be on your phone, because like the days that I was on my phone, closer to my like old average, which I think was only last Friday, try to do something productive, right? Like if you're gonna go do something, I'm messing with this online course thing and everything else. So like I'm full bore into that. And like, that was like a nonstop because my computer was rendering stuff. So I couldn't use it.
I get what you mean. I'll turn on OBS. I'll turn on my computer and mess around with some settings, see how I can improve some things. And I also want to find a video editing software that's good and free, or maybe not, maybe like cheaper.
Yeah.
Because I know Premiere is pretty expensive.
Absolutely.
And I know Rush is not that cheap either.
No, man, it's just a half version of Premiere Pro. So, okay. All right, everybody. Man, I'm getting like hoarse here. What?
Oh, wow.
I'm sorry. Like I instantly wanted to make my own joke. Nay. Freaking
like a gay horse.
Oh, jeez. Oh, man.
Wow.
Mr. Ed, somebody had a carrot at my ass or something like that.
Oh.
We have derailed.
Wow.
We have way derailed. Let's get back to it. Let's get back in.
Can we clip that and record that, please?
Mhm.
I just clipped it or tried to.
Oh, man. Let's see.
Yay.
Can I no, I'll do it later. I'll program it into the thing.
I already did.
Oh, damn.
Already clipped it.
All right. So last week Andy teased this question. Okay.
Mhm.
If you could live in one era or timeline, what would it be and why? Why? Just totally why. And I need to know, because I thought about this week, and I want to know from Andy. Is this
Okay.
question like you're picking it, but you don't know anything about any other timelines that are in front of you? So like if I picked like the 70s or the 60s, but I don't know anything about the 80s, 90s, 2000, 2010, the horrible 2020s that we're in. Like, do I know nothing about the ones that are in front of me?
I think yes. I think you do because yes, you do.
I do know about them, or I do not know about them.
You do know about them.
Okay.
Mine
I mean,
doesn't
you'd
change
have
for-
to.
So you're a time traveler and you get to choose to go back, but you're not necessarily have any mindset to know how to make yourself rich. Just that's the
Sure.
timeline you want to live in.
Sure.
All right. Then Andy, I want you to go first because I feel like
so
you had a good reasoning for why bringing up this question.
I do, and so I have 3 and an honorable mention. So this is, and I'll go quick. Okay, so first off, number 1 is the height of the Egyptian Empire. I think that there's a lot of really cool history, the pyramids, the mysteriousness of it all. I think that's really neat. I think that there's a whole lot more to that age and empire that we get to be told. I don't know why that is, but I just think that there's so much history and it's just old. Number 2 would be, and I had to look this up because the timelines kind of go weird. Would be like ancient China, right? So from like 6,000 BC to 2000 BC, anytime during there, I don't really have a particular period that I like of that. But again, you're talking about history and what a worldly different experience that would be. My third one is the Renaissance time period in, like Rome or not Rome, but like Italy and whatever, but specifically in the 1400s around Leonardo da Vinci. Again, historical, really cool stuff. And then my honorable mention, just because I think it would be fun and what a shit show, would be the Wild Wild West.
So, in other words, Andy has a problem with indoor plumbing, and he doesn't want to have anything around any place that has indoor plumbing. He wants to shit in a hole.
Just sort of poop in a hole and move on with my life.
They don't mention it in the movies though, so maybe they just didn't poop back then. You never
Maybe.
know.
Yeah.
Oh,
Nobody
man.
takes the time out of in the middle of a movie to watch that. So
Wasn't it
who knows what
Braveheart?
they
I
do.
thought Braveheart did, because there was like a disgusting scene about cleaning out a palace outhouse or something. It's been a long time since I've seen Braveheart, but they can never take our freedom smells. No, just me. Okay,
I
Ryan?
don't think. Yeah.
what did you put any thought into this? Because I feel like Andy put like a whole load of thought into the background of this, like in different eras and how he's gonna be the emperor of Fu Manchu and
What?
yeah, there's just crazy stuff going on. What would be yours?
So did I think of this? No. Was I thinking while Andy was talking? Yeah, absolutely, because I was a little third grader that was about to get my hand called on, and I had no clue what the answer was going to be. So I'm like, I got to think of something. What's it going to be? She might call on me. Oh, crap. I got to have an answer. I'm looking in the book. All that good stuff. Anyways, I have an answer, and I have a couple answers, and they all come from movies, right?
Okay.
Not that movies portray it as accurate, but they could portray it as a really cool time, a totally different time, right? So the Vikings era. I think that would be really cool. A lot of exploration going on. A lot of unknowns still going on, right? About the world around you. A lot of different style living and a lot of progression as well in that era. Right? So that'd be number one. Lots of upward expansion within that era. So that'd be number one. And very similarly, I would say like the Spartan time frame as well.
Sure.
So those are really my only two, just because one, there's still buildings, there's still like structures, there's still, you're able to live in shelter, not just like setting up camps and whatnot. But also because there's a lot of growth during those areas.
A lot of murdering too.
Yep, I'm not going there for the murdering, that's for sure. I'm not looking to get in some sword fight with some guy, no pun intended, but
Oh man.
but I think those would be really cool.
Yeah.
Like, all right. I had one was like Knights of the Round Table, which is technically like Renaissance, times, like, because like I think that would be cool like Freemasons and all that stuff fascinates the crap out of me, like all the engineering and stuff, because one of my other ones was actually Egyptian times too, because it's like, hey, I want to see the aliens build this damn pyramid.
That's right.
But
or the giants.
The giants. Yeah, one of the two. We find out that it's really just a butt plug for a massive alien. Like it's just some weird thing that ends up coming
that
down.
Escalated very quickly.
Hey.
There's a lot of butt stuff with you tonight. Like the carrot on the pyramid.
Carrots,
horses. It's weird. It's a thing. It's just it's been a week, apparently for me. I'm just gonna keep the puns up. I'm just gonna keep them.
You're the only one that can do those things. So as when we need to cuss, it's like, oh, it slipped.
Yeah, like you, and then Ryan's like, fuck you, and then it doesn't work anymore because
it doesn't work. It only works on one person till we edit the video. This is live. We don't edit.
I don't even edit it later on like that hardcore. Like, no. I'm just gonna trim the beginning and the end, and that's it. Unless Ryan makes some comment that he shouldn't be making. All right. So I have those two, but like the one, like if we're going to talk about like recent, like modern world, right? Like because I love cars, it's going to be through the muscle car era. So, like my dad grew up, like he's born in 54. So like, he had part of the 50s, the 60s, the 70s, like not just because of all the crazy crap that was going on, but like just all the cars, just awesome.
Yeah.
And we go to Barrett Jackson and everything every year. And, he didn't even realize how cool it was, what he was actually living in, with the all the craziness with the cars that it is now that we look back and it's like, oh, well, that was one of 3,000 versus, now it's one of almost 3 million cars that's produced every single year. And you don't get any one-offs and stuff.
And I have two follow-up questions, and it doesn't have to be long. It can be absolutely really quick, but and then maybe this is a question. Roger, you're involved. Boom, here we go. When you're just in that area and you're just like, oh, just a new car coming out. Oh, muscle car looks pretty cool. But, I got my car over here. I'm never going to be able to afford something like that. Just like we look at potentially, and this is drastic, right? But let's mention Ferrari and Lamborghini. Like those are just exotic. But let's just mention a Corvette like right now, right? Still like out of our price range. Was the mentality back then like, oh man, real sweet car, but never going to be able to be affordable. And how could you ever see that being what it is today?
Oh, well, first off, me and my dad have talked about this because, a lot of like Ford Mustangs and a lot of Ford stuff, like they have the thing called a Marty report, which this guy bought all of the old history and everything else of the exact number of cars that were produced, each VIN number, all the stuff that goes along with that. So like he can tell you if it's a one of one, meaning like it's the only blue with white interior with a big block motor that's actually been built in this car from the factory. Cause you like had so many options that you could literally one-off check mark a whole bunch of stuff all the way along. And it ends up being like, well, this car was $4,000. My dad was always, tell me like, well, it seemed like ridiculous back then because, I made, I don't even remember the exact number, but like let's say like $3 an hour, or, and I think that was even high, so like even if it's $1 or even a $3, right? Like that's a huge amount of money. Like, but the gap that's there versus the gap that's there now, like of the difference, because like, okay, you gave the perfect example of the Corvette, right? Because like the Corvette then would have been around the same price as the Mach 1 Mustangs and everything else. So you're talking, $4,000 to $5,000, right? But now you're talking about the same car that cost $120,000 with the, the same level of performance stuff nowadays as something crazy was back then, like even at 80, even if you go the lowball version, that's like the bare bones, it's $80,000, $80,000 versus,
which is just all relative to what we're making now.
Yeah, but the thing is you're not making that much more, right? Like you could say, let's see, I'll do some math here. Like
but as Roger was stating in the and this is kind of goes to my question, he would never in his wildest dreams think that these cars would be what they're worth right now. Yeah. And that's insane to think about. And then my follow-up question to that is, we're a little off topic here, but what kind of cars are we going to see 40 years from now?
Yeah.
50, 60 years from now. What kind of cars are we going to see up for auction?
So Roger said he made $2 an hour in the early 70s, you know, for
Jeez.
reference to those things. Okay.
That's
So
crazy.
here's an example. Here's an example. If you make $100,000 today, okay, like and you work 40 hours a week for 52 weeks, that is 2,080 hours in a year that you will work. Now, we all know that anybody that works a 40-hour job, that salary really ends up working 60 to 80, so you get more screwed. But if you work a standard 40 hours a week and you make $100,000 a year, you make $48 an hour. Or yeah, $48 an hour, which that sounds like a lot, right? But that's like he gave $2 an hour versus 48. Like, okay, you're 10, you're 20 times the difference. Is that car 20 times the difference? Like, no, it ends up, you know, for the same one that we're talking about, it's like 40 to 45 times the difference in the price of the car, just because it's so drastic. And 100,000 is the wrong number to use, because that's not the average of what everybody makes, right? Like, I really should have used 60,000, because like that's the mean average of what, you know, the average, you know, American makes in a year. And that's why like the delta is so different with what inflation's done. It's just absolutely nuts.
And even just to take that just slightly further as another example, you know, not saying everybody goes to college, but most people at least have some sort of educational degree outside of, I won't even say most, whatever. That's not the point. You go to college, you get out of college, and you have to start making money, right? You got to start somewhere. Some people are engineers. Now, I'm not talking the specific stuff like doctors, engineers, IT, like all those stuff they can get pretty good salaries right off the bat, but just somewhere. You're making $30,000 a year, right? And you're just striving to make more. That's not a lot. Honestly, it's not a lot. That's what. Yeah, I'm not even gonna mention it. You know what kind of jobs make $30,000 a year. You go and ask your parents, and they go, oh, I was only making $5 an hour back in my day, and all this other. I was making, Roger's example, I was making $2 an hour. I don't want to hear your bitching. You know what I mean? You Google that shit. And I'm not saying $2 an hour was, but you Google it at those rates relative towards the year, you were making $60,000+ a year at that rate, which is insane.
You mean equivalent to today, right?
Yeah, equivalent to today.
Yeah.
So, and that was one example that I got from a friend, actually. He was making at that time, 30 to 35, would always go to, his mom or his parents, and they'd say that. Well, I was making this back in my day. It was equivalent to $75,000 in their time frame.
Yep.
Like, what the heck? That's insane.
Me and Andy worked for a guy that became the CEO of one of the companies we've previously worked for. That was exactly that. He was like, well, in my day, when I was in my 30s, I was making $35,000 a year. It's like, yep. But again, that was 40 years ago. That's the rate. You shouldn't be paying people $35,000 a year in, 2009. Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah. Anyways, a little off topic, but it's just crazy to think about that stuff. Interesting topics for sure.
Yeah. So like when you take money into account, and look back on how would you make a living, like there's a whole bunch of different offshoots that you could really go down, a different avenue on how you want to think about it and how would you make money being in that era. If you know now what if you could go there like a time traveler and know what you know now, it's a completely different story, because you can really build industries and things. So it'd be kind of cool. I was like, is there an actual movie called The Time Traveler? What's the one where he builds it? No, it's called The Time Machine.
Hot Tub Time Machine?
No, not Hot Tub Time Machine.
That one's relative.
No. The actual movie, The Time Machine, right? Where he builds a time machine, and like when the thing that always fascinated me as a kid about this movie was like him having the ability to like go back, and you're seeing the numbers change, and you're seeing the world devolve around itself as you're going back in time. Buildings, getting newer, and then, getting taken apart because it's in the reverse of that getting built and stuff like that. If you could truly build a time machine that like lets you just do that, even if you weren't allowed to do anything inside of it, that'd be freaking cool. Yeah. Saying you go all the way back and you're seeing a dinosaur walk past you, and it's like, ah! And then there's a squirrel on Andy's screen, and it's just weird, crazy stuff. That's always
weird. It's getting weird.
I think Ryan's now trying to go for weird animal noises. Yeah. Up next, you will see a live panda struggling for its life against a rhinoceros.
I don't even know. Like you gave me two animals that don't make big, huge sounds. You know, a panda.
Honestly, I was just spitballing there. It didn't make any sense at all.
It was good. You stumped me. You backed me into a corner, and I couldn't get out. I was like, "Help! I'm in a corner."
Butt stuff, corners. All right, we got to get out of this. What's next?
All right. I'm gonna give you a Today I Learned, and we're gonna do it just as we did last week in the form of a question for you guys to fill it in. Hasbro, the toy company behind My Little Pony and the Furby, also a ton of board games and stuff. They own what other property that you wouldn't think that they own? Okay, and I'm gonna give you. I'm gonna give you a portion. It's in the music world. Okay.
What other property, or is this just a brand?
They own a brand, a company, and everything else that's in the music industry. Okay. I don't know if you know the exact name of this company, Ryan. I know Andy will. Okay. I know you know the people that are underneath this brand, Ryan. So at least that. What would be the weirdest answer you could possibly think of for what Hasbro, a kids' toy company, owning in the music industry? Andy?
Death Row Records.
Why you got to look it up?
I did look it up.
You just happen to know it because that's the actual right answer.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, is that something with Dr. Dre?
Yeah, the old school Dr. Dre, but Tupac, Snoop Dogg, Suge Knight,
I'm not gonna lie, that's what I was gonna guess too, is something with Dr. Dre, and I think that's his record company, isn't it?
What? Sorry.
Isn't that Dr. Dre's record company?
No, Dr. Dre owns Interscope, which he left Death Row and started making Interscope when everything was going crazy. But I think, man, now you're just struggling with my 90s rap, knowledge. You're extending it back. That's not the era I chose to go to, Ryan. That's the era I came from.
That's my B.
Anyway, the fact that Andy knew it, that's just weird.
Oh.
It's probably something you and Brett Michaels talk about all the time. That's why.
Look, we're best friends. We talk about a lot of stuff. We share dream journals. It's, nothing's off limits and out of base.
Is the little squirrel in the bottom left-hand corner named Brett Michaels?
No, it's just
his name's B Mike. So
can it be
Lorenzo? Sure.
All right, cool. We got little B or little Mike.
Little Mike. Little Mike. What's up, little Mike? All right. Because we did this last week, and I liked it, because we went down this weird rabbit hole in New Girl, and it's made me want to watch New Girl, but also I'm trying to watch my screen time, as we all talked about earlier on.
Yeah, but that's on your phone. The TVs don't count that stuff.
Man, I'm trying to keep it off TVs. I stare at these computer screens too much. Oh, man. And so there's a project that I'm working on with Andy, and I don't even think I've told Andy this exact stat of, with us trying to launch it in 6 months, that means we need to script, record, and edit 2 videos a week, every week for the next 6 months in order to launch it in 6 months.
I have a GoPro. I can help you guys out.
Okay.
The scripting the recording of it's not the problem. My dad can help me out with the editing. So let's say that's not the problem. It's scripting it. Wow. That's a lot. 2 videos a week. Wow, man, for 6 months. I'm 6 weeks into working out and I'm like, man, the working out's not killing me. It's the friggin' diet that I'm on that's killing me. So anyway, I got way off topic there. My point
I don't know where that one was going.
I don't know. I was just kind of letting it flow, and
you just start a conversation and you don't know
see where it goes.
Yeah, so I sometimes just end up at a sandals resort, and then we had to beat them to death with their own shoes. But that's a totally another story for a different time. So what are you watching? Video wise, I don't care if it's a movie. I don't care if it's a TV show. Ryan, you seem to have a good one that's normally always playing in the background whenever we're talking. What have you guys been watching, you and Corey?
I would say it's mostly Corey watching it. I would definitely not say I'm watching it, but damn, this show looks good. It's Big Sky on ABC. Big
Okay.
Sky.
Okay.
And it's based in Montana. I'm not trying to give it all away, right? I mean, there's
Who
people
cares?
watching
Go.
that.
You got to give us something.
Okay,
Yeah,
I
it's
know.
based in Montana, and it's a TV show.
It's based in
It's
Montana.
good. It's really
and
good,
it's
guys.
basically, and it's they're serious about it, right? It's about kidnapping, and potentially like what are they, like sex trading? What's that called again? Sex trafficking. Thank you. And basically like that, because at the end of each one of the shows, they have, if you have heard, if you need help, call these numbers. And so they're like legit about it, right?
Yeah.
Which is a good thing, because it's a bad thing in the United States and everywhere. But it's an amazing show. Every time Corey throws it on, again, I don't watch it because I'm either doing this or playing video games. I am constantly like, oh, damn. Oh, shit. Oh, God, what's happening? And a lot of times, too, you guys hear it in the background. So anyways, it's a great show.
All right. Somebody in the chat's got a quick question for us. Go ahead and type it in. We're gonna get to it, but I also want to hear from Andy on what's going on with what you're watching.
Okay, so still powering through New Girl because I'm almost to the end, and I went back to The Boys. If you've ever watched that on Amazon Prime, It's a great show. And then I really like some of the shows that I've already watched, like Ozark, and different things like that. So I'm just like debating on whether to go back to some of those type of things. And I still have, The Office and whatever, but nothing too crazy. I'm looking for something new and exciting, but stick with the classics.
Sticking with the classics. Well, like I've been watching, like NASCAR just started up this weekend with the Daytona 500 and stuff, which ended up being delayed so bad that like I got like 3/4 of the way through it, and then I became an old man and fell asleep on the couch.
Nice.
Yeah. So that happened, but during it they were like pitching this TV show that was about to start on Netflix called The Crew, which is about a NASCAR team and stuff, and they actually have some drivers and things into it. And I ended up binging that. Like it's pretty good. Like it's not like like you have to watch it. It's like one of those like comedies you can put on, not fully pay attention to, and keep jumping in and out, right? And you're just what's going on, and it's good. I liked it. I thought it was good. I think there's like 9 episodes or something of that. That's there. Kind of reminded me of the show that was on Netflix called The Ranch, which I ended up loving. I'm not a huge Ashton Kutcher fan, but like that one's pretty good. Kutcher. It's like Pikachu. I'm not an Aston Pikachu fan, but
or Justice Beaver. You don't like
Justice Bieber.
Oh, those freaking beavers! I hate all of those beavers.
Yeah, Justin Bieber. I don't even know who has a beeper anymore. It's all crazy. I seriously want to know Andy's answer to this question. I swear to God,
I could see your gears turning.
Like I legitimately thought about not saying this, but I truly want to like actually ask this question.
Okay, so the question is, would you be willing to join a vaguely religious organization? What would be the perks that would override your judgment and just go for it for research purposes? So I have actually processed this in my mind. I wanted to, like, I don't want to say I got close, but like I thought through what would happen if I joined Scientology. Like this is a true story. I watched this video on Netflix and it was very interesting. Like the whole thing about, it wasn't the Leah Remini one. There was one before that. It really focuses a lot on Tom Cruise and just the weirdness of L. Ron Hubbard, and like he's just a strange dude. So I signed up for newsletters. I still get them and I'm afraid to cancel them. I'm talking like 10 years, okay, that I've received these like newsletters and buying the whole Dianetics book and like really like diving into this because it's so different, beyond the whole like alien component of it. But I actually thought like, what would happen? Like what happened to my family? Where would I go? Like all these different things. What would be the perks? The unknown. The what I don't know would be so intriguing and compelling to me to make me want to continue to move forward. However, and trying to disprove what I saw. Was that real? Was it not real? And just the like detectiveness of it all. And that's not really a word, but like really going through and finding out if that was true or not true. And like, maybe what if there's something really cool that I don't even know about that exists, right? Like, what if you get to go on an alien spaceship, that sounds insane, but all of that really would cloud my better judgment of like logic and reason, because I'm a very fact-based person. But the unknown and it just intrigues me to the point where I would have actually done it. I think if I didn't have a family, I probably would have done it. To be like totally truth and honest, I would have done it if I didn't have a family. And really the reason that I didn't, obviously, is because of that. I just didn't know. And I'm basing my decision off of something I learned. So there's a part of me that's like, is that true or not? Let's go find out. But then the other part is like, wait, you can't do that, right? So I get the little shoulder guys, let's fucking go. And then this was like, wait a minute, you're responsible and you're an adult.
So not just bashing on Scientology or anything, but you have the one where it's the one side of you that's curious about it, and the other one's like, I'm also curious about it, but I'm afraid that it's a cult. Like, regardless of what it is, right? Like, those are the two polar, pieces of like, am I going to be in a cult, or is it just something that I will learn about and then I could walk away from later on if I so choose to?
Yeah. So Brittany from Scientology, stop emailing me. That's all I got to say.
Is one of the people on your left or right shoulder that little squirrel in the bottom left-hand corner of your screen?
Could be Lorenzo.
I thought it was little Mike.
Little B.
So I'll answer this one. Like, would you be willing to join a vaguely religious organization? Like, that's so open-ended. Like,
it really is.
Like it's not.
That's why I laugh.
Yeah, it's not like tied in enough, because like if you're just saying anything could technically be considered religious if you're asking somebody to have faith in something. Okay, and like the instant thing that wanted to pop into my brain was, okay, well, what would be the perks that make you want to override your judgment? Like, I instantly threw out the whole entire religious thing. Was like, oh, it's a multi-level marketing scheme, and you want me to sell 16 bananas, but I'm not actually selling the bananas. See, I get other people to sell bananas, and they get other people to sell bananas, and then those people get 3 people to sell bananas, and then sure enough, eventually, all that money's coming up to me because I'm at the top of the pyramid. Like,
yeah,
A,
but if you,
I got the perks, right? Somebody talked me into it, and B, like, I'm not actually selling bananas.
Yeah, but if you draw it out, it actually is like a square.
Well, just to be clear, it's more of a circle, okay? And you're not in it, all right?
Yep.
Yeah, it's
exactly.
And you realize it's a trash can, and you're just throwing your money into it, and you're not actually doing anything. All you're doing is just, handing $50 back and forth.
I thought you were going to say the spaghetti one, Pastafarian, I think is what it is. I thought you were going to say. Do you not know about this?
I have no clue. Like, wait, now you just got to tell me about what's happening. Or should we wait until next week to talk about Pastafarian?
Yeah, we'll talk about that next week.
Okay, we're going to talk about Pastafarian next week, so we want to make sure that everybody comes back and joins us then. We got another question in. Have you ever read about a conspiracy and kind of start to believe it in the end? I'm going to answer that for Andy. The answer for him is yes, and we're going to do a conspiracy episode coming up. So,
Andy, finally.
Yes.
Andy, you get your conspiracy episode.
We will do a conspiracy episode, whether it's the earth is flat, which he's done extensive research on. There's potentially a dome over the earth where if you fire a rocket, you hear a tink because it doesn't actually go all the way up and it starts to come back down. So it is extensive, the knowledge that this man has done, not just on flat earth, but all kinds of crazy things. So please come back. We'll do that one in 2 different episodes. So next week, we'll talk about Pastafarian. In 2 weeks, we will talk about, do a whole conspiracy episode dedicated to Andy. So we appreciate everybody joining us. As Ryan mentioned at the top of it, we record every single Wednesday at 8 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. Please join us whenever you can. We also post on all of the different podcast apps. So please go to us there and give us a review if you're listening to us on there. Appreciate everybody.
One thing before we go, I feel like I should show everybody what the squirrel really is. Okay. So I went on this mission to find the most weird thing I could buy on Amazon, and it's a little squirrel hand puppet. So
yeah, it's not creepy until you see your palm with it. Then that's where you I feel like it just loses it.
So anywho,
Yeah,
That's
but we got new people in the chat. We appreciate it. Please make sure that you follow us.
If that's not random,
Yeah, please.
I don't know what is.
Please make sure you follow us. Come join us again. We're always shooting the and having a good time talking about slightly average topics. You've joined us this week for the Slightly Average Guys. We appreciate everybody. We will see you guys next week.